Awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hey, hey, hey.
How are you, my man?
Halfway to perfect.
Yes, it was funny. We've been juggling a bunch to get here today, so I appreciate your patience and everybody else's along the way. Um, it's definitely an exciting time, interesting times in the world, no doubt.
Amen to that truth.
So first off, not sure what platform people are going to catch this on, but whatever it is, make sure you subscribe, like it, share it with a friend. This is the Jimmy and Jonny show. Right? I'm Jonathan Munsell.
I'm Jimmy Bornamann. Nice to see everybody.
So I think in our description it says, a couple old school, longtime friends, just shooting the shit about business and life. So
exactly.
It's
trying to help people through their troubles.
Yeah, and I mean the world is full of them, right? And we can like lament over them, or we can take action and do something about it.
That's what we subscribe to.
Yeah, I lobby for the latter, and life's never perfect, and what do they say? You want to make an omelet, you got to break some eggs.
Right.
Oh God, you hit it the other day. So if you guys don't know this, Jimmy and I, we own a couple different businesses together. We have a marketing agency. We have the largest car care company in the world. And we were talking the other day that, we have so much activity going on, and people really do think that we're an overnight success. And you had the comment the other day, what was it?
Overnight success, but it took us 10 years of overnights.
Yeah, 10 years of overnights to look like an overnight success. Long days, hours, weeks, months. Yeah.
Monsters, coffee.
Yes. Oh yeah. The energy drinks, right? Just like the old school developers, just pack the fridge full of monsters and let them rip.
Yes, sir. Best way to get through it.
Yeah, we have a buddy that drinks like 10 Red Bulls a day. I don't even know how he's still with us.
Yeah. Crazy.
So today, Jimmy, I wanted to talk about a couple different things. I made a couple notes for us. One of the things that it keeps coming up in my world, which is, I want to talk about, if you watch the news, okay, and I apologize, I have some background noise here, so I may mute myself a little more than usual. My neighbor's house burned down like a year ago, and they're rebuilding it literally at the moment. It is dropped off like a truck's worth of wood, and it's been every day around here. It's been a nightmare, and trucks and noise, and so I don't know how bad that is behind me, Jimmy, but
can't hear a thing, sir.
Oh God, thank you, baby Jesus. So anyway, if you plug into the news, which I'm not actually a big proponent of plugging into the news all the time. I have a certain way that I digest news. I actually use a thing called Haystack. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Yes.
But it's like an app, and I use it on the TVs because we have like the Fire TVs everywhere. So I'm able to go into Haystack. I'm able to pop through news very, very quickly. As soon as I'm tuned out on what they're talking about, I'm like, next.
Yep.
So I really do enjoy that because I can take in a lot of information very quickly, and that's kind of how I subscribe to a lot of things in life. But you cannot get away from right now. Obviously, it's the middle of the summer, the dog days of summer, woof, woof. And right now, I mean, it is like all time around the world, some of the worst like drought and problems that are being created, and it's like never seen before. We're talking like 100-year droughts that they haven't seen. Things that created the Dust Bowl back in the day are like upon us. And I think it's just crazy because I never think about it. But one of the companies that we own is a waterless car wash company. So God, if it doesn't ring in your ears right now about how different we are with using 16 ounces of water to clean a car versus 75 to 100 in your driveway. I mean, I don't know what else is out there. So it's just a weird message for me. And when I talk about not subscribing to the news all the time, I really mean that there's a lot of bad news out there, and you know, and if you plug yourself into that, you know, you'd curl up in a ball in your closet, I think.
Yeah, I subscribe to the point of not watching much because I can get overwhelmed with the negativity or the different things that happen, and it just doesn't really affect on my day to day. If I turn it off, I can actually function and focus and just go with whatever's bothering me that moment, not everybody else's problems. So I tend not to watch much.
Yeah, and I literally I plug in. I like to see what's going on. I like to see, obviously we got a war going on over in the Ukraine, and today actually was the funniest footage I ever saw. So it's a picture of people, and there's a big explosion, right? So they blew up some depot with ammunition and stuff, but it's a picture of people that are on the beach, kind of getting up and scrambling, and I'm like, wait, they're going to the beach in the Ukraine right now? I'm like, what? I'm like, literally, like they have like cabanas and people. You can see this, Jimmy. It couldn't have been 2 miles from these people, right?
Oh my
Like
goodness.
they're scrambling off the beach, and I'm like, holy crap! Who the hell goes to the beach during a war?
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, I got it. Literally, like out loud.
I'll have to go catch that one.
Oh my goodness! On Haystack, you laugh your butt off. Yeah. So it was just one of those, caught me funny. The one thing I do like is I have people around me that like really funny stuff, and they like to make me laugh. And I get shared all the time these like just funny quotes and funny stories, jokes. Oh my God, I have a buddy named Antique that just every time he sees me, he rattles off 3 new jokes. So, oh my goodness, I like, if there's one thing anybody ever wants to bring me a laugh. I'm telling you, I don't get enough of them, and I'm a pretty lighthearted person. So the one of the things it brings up, Jimmy, I was thinking about, I'm going to see if I can find it for folks. So we were just talking about not subscribing to that stuff because it ultimately, like, you get sucked into it, right? And you can't control it, right? So it reminds me of a concept of ours, right? We have this kind of circle of influence, and we can influence a ton of things, right? But the reality is that there's this like area of control that's a very small part of this big circle of influence. And that's the thing that I think people need to understand. Like, you can worry about that stuff and you can get depressed even about stuff, but
Anxious,
you can't control it. So why waste the energy? And I'm telling you, people have a hard time with that. And I've been this way for a long time, probably why at some level I'm probably a sociopath and lack a little bit of empathy, but yeah, but it's just, I can't do much about it. And yes, do I support some great causes, veterans, cancer, all those things? Absolutely. But there's just, you can't fix everything. And, at sometimes you just got to focus on your little, area of control, because you can make things move in that area. I might be able to influence that a little bit. I might be able to say something on here and tell people to go donate to the Ukrainian War Relief Fund, or, you stop using water. but this, I can control that in this one right here. I can use the least amount of water because, I'm very conscious of it. So that's one of those things I just was top of mind today for me was, water in the world is a scarce resource, and not enough people understand it. And we're depleting it really, really, really fast. At least there's tons of water, right? Water everywhere.
It's just salty.
It's funny because it's called Earth, but the planet really should be called water. So
it just happens to be all salty.
Yeah, that's the problem, the desalinization. And they do that on ships. I imagine that the cost of doing it outweighs the end product at some level, or otherwise, why wouldn't we just be doing it? We're worried about the seas rising. Why don't we just
borrow some, turn it into Lake Mead? Yep.
Yeah, right. Pump that stuff around. That's one of the things that they're doing now is they're, in the UK, they have such a water issue, and the water's kind of moved around. They get the same amount of water that they've gotten for a long time, but just the climate, like, they don't get it in the south. They're getting, twice as much in the north. And they're literally looking at ways to move the water around the country just to get it into the reservoirs, in the south that are, they showed a picture of a guy standing in one, and it was down so low that they can't even pump from it anymore. So it was down like to a reservoir that If he was standing in it, he would have been 10 feet underwater.
Oh my.
And it was down to like inches, centimeters, right? They call it centimeters.
Centimeters. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's scary. Salt Lake's feeling the same thing. Lake Mead. I mean,
oh my gosh. Yeah. Right. I mean, California, they're feeling it. Vegas, right? They don't have any water. They pump it all in.
That's true. Something about a desert and a big city.
Yeah. So I threw a couple topics up on our list today. One, I wanted to talk a little bit, I want to break the show up into, almost like a little bit of segments just to kind of keep it interesting and get people more diversity in the conversation.
Sure.
So, I threw out, a marketing topic, I have an operations topic, and I want to start to share some of our principles and philosophies. We have some good ones. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with our agenda for today, if you will. So, Jimmy, talk to me about sequential marketing campaigns. When you hear that, what do you think of?
Multiple touch points, whether it be an SMS followed up by an email, followed up by a phone call, followed up by a direct mail piece, sequentially touching.
Yep. In our world, we do this. I mean, I'm a really, really firm believer in this, by the way. And if anybody out there has ever connected with, any one of our companies, once you're connected, you're connected forever. What do I say? It's like, until they buy or die, right? They will get a message from us, at least every single month for the rest of their lives until they tap out, or they move to the next one where they get inside the fold and they learn more and get kind of the good juice on the inside. So I think about that, and and for us, so any business out there should really take a step back and look at what they're doing from a marketing perspective, and then is it congruent with this kind of concept of building the relationship with your end prospect, right? They say that you need 6 to 7 touch points before somebody's going to become a customer. And how do you do that? You can't go out there and it can't just be buy, right? You gotta nurture the relationship, build upon that.
Reciprocity.
Get them down, right? It's the funnel, which if you guys have ever seen us show the funnel is not this, right? That is a funnel. But that's only like, actually we like kind of turn it this way and it's got 2 ends. I work on my hand puppetry. So you got this big pipe coming in, and right, you have lots of ways to put people in this side of it, and they come in from social media, they read an article, they hear a message, they see an interview like this, and then they're like, okay, that intrigues me, I'm going to go check it out, right? So they come in, right, and then they kind of go through a door in our world. So once we find them, we register them. We want to like get them to do something so we know who they are now. Okay, I hear the dog.
Sorry about that. Yep.
The dog days of summer, Jimmy. Woof, woof.
Woof, yep. The lab says I'm here.
Yeah. So so we get them in, we find them, right? So finding them there's a million activities you can do to find them, but you really need to register them or connect with them. And one of the easiest ways, right? Obviously, the old school adage is get them to your site and have an opt-in, right? So that's like great. Get them there and get their information. But nowadays, you don't even have to do that. Talk a little bit about that, Jimmy. Talk about what happens in the back end with the technology today.
Well, some of you might have seen what they call cookies that are, you got to touch this, okay. And
as I eat them every night with milk.
Exactly. And the technology and in the browsers tap and connect and capture your IP address. They capture where you're located. A lot of times they can even go deeper and figure out who you really are. But they don't tell you all of it. It's like a little hidden secret. But that cookie allows multiple people to figure out where you're browsing at. That's why if you tap an ad for Hyundai, and all of a sudden you start seeing Hyundai cars everywhere. If you're on Amazon, you tap a chair. Next thing you know, you see that damn chair everywhere. It's because you've tapped and you allowed that. But if that's what you're referring to.
That is absolutely what I'm referring to, right? You got the Facebook pixel, the Google tag, cookies in general is what they refer to now. And now there's all kinds of, you have to disclose that information. So everybody, when you go to websites now, that kind of thing pops up and you're just like, oh, get that thing out of here. Yeah, whatever. Click, yeah, get that thing out of here. I can't see the stuff I want to see. But the thing for everybody to understand is like, that is a form of registering people. So you may not know exactly, it's different. I don't have their name. I don't have their email. I can't like directly reach out to them, but Jimmy will tell you ways that you can. Jimmy's, the IT guy, the chief information officer. He knows how to get to the people. And one of the things is like, there's a number, right? We're all a code in Facebook and a number and a digit in Google.
Yes,
and the more you click and interact with either their sites or sites that are affiliated with them, they're building a profile in the background on you. It's real. Like we all know it, and it's just the cost of admission at some level. If you want to, we can go off the grid, but that does not sound that fun to me.
No.
I like being on the grid. I don't like all the emails and stuff I get because I get thousands of them. But I think the technology, especially if you're in business, you have to respect and appreciate it. And it needs to be part of your sequential campaign. So, right, they come in, we find them, they register, they may give us information or we may get information. And then, the sequence doesn't need to be direct, right? So I think of a sequence, I think I'm going to email, text, call, right? Like the basics. That's all like ideal, right? And it should be really like comprehensive of what you're trying to do. You're trying to build a relationship. You're trying to get them to know, like, and trust you. And then ultimately you're going to make an offer of some kind and get them to buy. Whether it's you have a restaurant, hey, come in tonight. We have, spaghetti and meatballs on special, whatever that is, or that, get them to transact with you. And then there's a deeper level, right? So in Jimmy and my world, we're huge proponents of, loyalty, rewards. So, anybody that has, it doesn't even need to be brick and mortar, but I do like the example of the brick and mortar. Anybody that has a brick and mortar, if you're not using our loyalty and rewards program, you're making a mistake. So you should absolutely because it's not just this find, register, get them in, get them to buy from you. It's really what happens after that, which is you want a customer for life. And I talk about it all the time, right? I want a sale to get a customer. Most people want a customer to get a sale so they got money in the bank. And it's the opposite. Well, with rewards and loyalty, you get them so much deeper. You get them into a place where they're connected to your brand, and the buying activity around people that are truly connected to your brand and your business is it is like 100 times more profitable to market to them than it is to go get and find all these other new people.
Absolutely
So
true.
your sequence though is, I want people to challenge themselves and say, do you have a sequence? Is it sequential? Is it comprehensive? And, is it working? Because the beauty of it is there's really 3 pieces to the puzzle when you're doing it. It's like your hook, your story, and your offer. Okay. Like, what are you doing in your marketing to get them to stop, right? Interruption marketing, smack them in the forehead to get them to look. Okay. And we have a creative guy in our company, and he came up with these kind of crazy characters. And they make you stop. Like, they literally stop you in your tracks because you don't understand what's happening and you want to.
Yep.
So,
stop the
that's
scroll,
a good hook.
Yep.
What's that?
Stop the scroll.
Yeah. Like, how do I get them to focus? Because, people like me, right? I just told you how I go through the news. I'm like, beep, 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 beep. Right? How do you get me to actually stay tuned and plugged in and watch to the point that, you get a chance to make me an offer? So, and you mentioned it earlier, which I think is really, really important, is to combine on and offline marketing. Like, today you should absolutely, there's a point. So, I've proven it recently, right? I've been a maniac inside of our business because we have big lists. We get a lot of people that inquire about business with us, and, we put them in sequences, but if the sequence isn't getting to them, it's pointless, right? So email deliverability, you have to look at these things. You may think you're sending out to 1,000 people, but how many people are actually opening it and clicking it? Hugely different number. And you should be tracking those metrics and working on making them better. But one of the things that cuts through a lot is, especially if you have a loyalty program, you actually know, our business has a tremendous amount of mobile. So we have addresses. We can figure out the demographics and the psychographics of people based off address. We can understand, if I have a neighborhood and we go to 10 houses in that neighborhood, but there's 100 houses. Well, guess what? I'm going to go buy the list of the other 90 houses in that, and I'm going to mail them, assuming that they must be like the other people in their neighborhood and want to do something with us. And it's no different for the florist. It's no different for the restaurant, the salon, all those things. Like, look around your neighborhood, look at where your people are coming from, but get them and get their information. The biggest thing I can teach people is have a mechanism to collect information, and don't settle for just like, oh, get their email address or get their phone number. That's all good. But if they're in your physical business, like, give them a big list of questions. We have like a pretty significant registration form for our loyalty and rewards program, because it allows us to slice and dice the list and then deliver the right message to the right person at the right time. Right? I don't want to go and send something out to thousands of people if I own a restaurant about, Sunday and Monday football, if they don't like football. Right? Like, but if I send it to the guy who I know likes football, my success rate on that marketing is going to be tremendously higher, and I'm not going to wear out the big list by just sending them stuff that isn't of interest to them. So if you can go and sort them out, have check boxes on your registration. Do you like football? Yeah. Do you like sports? Yeah. Do you like brunch? And then you only market to the people that actually like brunch. And so those are little things that I think people miss, because you got to get yes, you're promoting your business and, hey, everybody look at me. Everybody's a suspect, but until you qualify them, they're not a prospect or an opportunity.
Correct. Well said.
Okay. Next topic. I want to talk about training, Jimmy. We've been on a big, revamping of training in one of our businesses, because, we're onboarding new master franchises and franchisees all over the country. So they had to come through our facility in Atlanta. And, Stan's been, our chief operating officer, has been working really hard on building this out. So, one of the things, and it probably could have been the principle that we're going to talk about today, but I have a different one on the list. But really, I think the training needs to start at the top, right? Your management training needs to be like the best of the best, because if you can get them to understand and know their jobs and then hold them accountable to that, and you can really make a difference in your business. My experience is, people come in, they don't get all the right training. Maybe, we're busy or they're busy. And I see this around the country. It's not necessarily endemic to us internally, but, somebody, a franchisee hires a manager, they kind of, push them in there and they don't have all the details. So it takes them a long time to become really effective. And that costs money. Where if you do the training the right way on the front end and put them through the comprehensive training program and make sure they understand, like, go and like sit them down and have them show you. Okay. I'll share real quick the screen. I have a hugely comprehensive management training checklist that we have in one of our businesses. And it's funny, it comes off of a tool that we use all the time. Let me see if I can get this here, Jimmy. Going to the screen. So this is a training checklist, a management training even. And if you look, it has, this is actually like a complete system that's online that has all of our training in it, about all these different components and pieces that they need to know. So, in our world, we've done a lot to digitize training. So the concept behind that, and there's another one I recommend for everybody. If you're doing training, whether it's a manager or an employee, doesn't matter. Like, do it really well once, okay? Right. Just once. And, and I've seen it for decades, Jimmy. I'm not a young man. I have a birthday coming up here on Sunday, and I'm trying to get all this knowledge out to the world. My mortality is real. So I surround myself with amazing people like you and Stan and Kim and Dave and Abby. So it was a question that an investor had. They're like, oh my God, what happens to your business if something happens to you? I'm like, I don't know, it just keeps going. It's like, they don't need me. All I do is cause problems.
Isn't that our role, is to work ourselves out of a job?
That is it, Jimmy. I think the whole goal should be to figure out how to get yourself out of the way. And I'm working diligently towards it. So this list here is, it literally is every module that we have in the digital side of training. But, and that's good. So when I say do it once, do it and record it, memorialize it. And it may not be perfect, and you don't need the perfect background and the perfect setting and the perfect audio, right? There is a thing. What's that? Yeah, your phone. Oh my God. Imagine I just set this thing up. I have a little tripod maybe. If not, I got a guy holding it, until his arm falls off. Don't overthink it. Just, if you're going to do it, you're going to do orientation. This is my favorite one to tell people to start with. If you have an orientation, go get our orientation checklist. I know we give it away somewhere. Go grab it and do that orientation and just do it really well. Just go through every line item, boop, 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 record it. And now the next time you have to orientate somebody, you can actually sit them down. They can watch the video. Okay. Now, what did I just do? Instead of you having to do orientation, a million times in your life, which we used to have to do because video was not so prevalent. Right. I've done the orientation, Jimmy, thousands of times, thousands.
Yeah.
I can tell you the whole checklist right off the top of my head. But imagine now you get that one recording and it's really good. And now you hire one person, right? We like to train in groups because we maximize the time and energy put into it. It's hard to train onesie twosie. Well, it's not that hard when you have a system that has all the training videos in it. I can train onesie twosie all the time because I'm not having to stand there in front of them and deliver it. I just got to deliver it once and record it. And in our world, right, what's the old thing? Tell, show, do, review. So, yep. Right, you tell them, you show them, then they go and do it, and then you review it. So imagine I'm able to take care of the tell and the show, digitally. So that orientation that takes an hour, I don't have to spend that hour ever again. Sit down, watch this, and then you have some questions. Maybe you have a quiz. That's a great way to validate that they took in the information, right? You have a quiz maybe, and then you sit down and you clarify anything that might be more specific to them, right? Orientation probably should include who their direct supervisor is, their pay structure, rate, things like that. So then you sit down and you go through the 5 points that are specific to that person. And you probably should have an orientation checklist so you don't miss those 5 points. But think about that, Jimmy, like you do it once and then you don't have to do it all the time. The reason that I'm such a big fan of it is because of the consistency. Like I don't have to go across the country and see people doing something different in our business, right? We have 300 locations. If everybody did whatever they wanted, we wouldn't have a brand.
And I was just going to say the cost of training drops dramatically because I can use technology across the United States and the world.
Yeah, well, okay, so you drop your training costs dramatically, right? You can do it in off hours. Now it's not like you got to get them shoehorned into a certain specific set of hours. It's maybe you pay them to watch the videos at home and then they come in and you actually can spend the time with them and go through the physicality of it, the show them and the do and the review part. So, but the thing I find is the consistency is amazing. And it's a funny one because I do it more often than probably I need to, but I see people doing maybe a procedure wrong. And they already know who I am when I show up because there's always a welcome video for me. So that's kind of cool. You're the owner and you've personally met everybody in your business. They can put your name and face together. That's cool. Now you see them and they know you before you know them. And you walk up and maybe they're not doing something right. Okay. We have certain colored towels for certain color things. Well, maybe they're using the wrong color at the wrong time. So I literally just walk up. I'm like, I introduce myself, okay. Oh, how long you been with? Oh, I've been with you 2 weeks. Okay. So I notice you're doing, this procedure. Have you gone through training? Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, so you saw the video? Oh God, yeah, yeah. I saw them all. Okay, then why are you doing it that way?
Oh shit.
That's literally that's the conversation. So why are you doing it that way then? Well, and there might be a barrier that might exist. Oh, they don't have this colored towel, so they're using this, and but the reality is like that's a symptom of another problem. And so when I see it, it's like they either didn't get trained, they didn't listen to the training, and they're obviously not being held accountable to the standard. So, but it's an easy fix that's really clearly identifiable by anybody because they all have gone through the exact same training. It's not like that guy missed towel day and he skipped over it so he didn't get the training. It's like, no, they go through every single module. Look at all this stuff, Jimmy. I mean, that's the manager one on the left. Look at the employee one. It's this one here. It's like this column. I mean, we're talking about, here's day one, right? You have orientation, and then, oh, we're going to go through all of these things, all digital. Like we have modules and everything for all of it. Day two, they come back, they go through day one again, we review, then we go and we do day two and we teach them and we progress them, and then they go and they do it, right? And then ultimately they get, so 6 solid days of training. Really the last day is making sure that they are certified, which I believe in also. And, ultimately the last step is, they got training certification, and the manager gets to sign off that that person's trained. So, and then, but look at all this. So that's like just manager, really introduction on the left. The middle one here is is the employee one, which is probably the most comprehensive one we have. But then there's like all of this just kind of knowledge that people need to know in business. Some of it you hope they come with, and some of it, you need to teach them, right? Like, do they know the address? Do they know, like, where they are, right? Those things are different, but you can have guides and sheets and things like that that have all of this, right? So all of this information is what ultimately makes up a successful business. And it originally started like over here on this side with the people and the systems, the marketing, the management, the all of that stuff over here is what you can find if you go and you track down our business assessment. So if you go to any of our websites, there's always a thing to do the business assessment. Well, the business assessment is about looking at those types of items. They're similar but different. Those types of items in your own business, and kind of grading yourself on this scale of how much of these things do I have in place to make my business really successful. And we cover everything. We talk about pillars, right? People, service, operations, marketing, sales, management, financial. And it's all built on a foundation, right? Our pillars, think of the old Roman columns, are built on a foundation. The bedrock is systems, because systems flow through every one of those. So, but that's where it is. If you guys want to go look at the business assessment, you can download, almost the exact thing you need to understand your business. It's free. So go grab it. But that's the one thing I wanted to make sure everybody understood today was really about training. But you got to start at the top, and you got to really spend a lot of time getting in our world, we have franchisees, owners, managers. Those folks need to really, really, really get it, because they can't deliver it any further if they don't understand it and do it really well.
Yep. They don't know it, understand it. Yep.
And that leads me into our principles or philosophy.
Ooh.
I want to talk about total responsibility management today, Jimmy. What a weird total responsibility management.
Oof.
So I'm going to define it, and then I'm going to tell you where I learned it.
All right.
So it's take 100% responsibility for the events that happen within your operation. Do not make excuses and do not blame others when things go wrong. If you are wrong, apologize quickly and move on. Do not accept excuses from your subordinates. Develop a culture of total responsibility management within your organization.
Whew,
my friend, is powerful.
That's badass. That's badass.
So I learned originally about total responsibility management a long time ago. I worked for Restaurant Associates, and I ran all the restaurants at Lincoln Center in Manhattan. Huge, $13 million in sales at the time. Right in the middle of Manhattan, and the company was great. And the president of that division became the president, or he was the vice president, and he became the president of the New Jersey division. And when he went over to New Jersey, he brought me over with him. So, and he did a seminar. He brought in a guy who had written a book on it. And, we spent a couple days diving into this. And the one that I love is the do not accept excuses from your subordinates. Like when people make excuses around me, it literally is like Charlie Brown, the teacher, the wah, 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 like, yeah, like a wall, like immediately I feel it coming as I hear the excuse. The wall is just dropping in front of me. And then the opposite is they get a list of, a half a dozen alternatives to their BS excuse. Like, couldn't you have done, like, okay, you're late, right? You're late. Well, you want to be really responsible. You could have gotten up freaking earlier and gotten here, right? Number one.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number two, there's a point that you're going to be late. You certainly could have let somebody know. That's just the one. But what are they? Oh, sorry, I was late. The bus. Well, you know what? If you really, if I had $1 million in my hand that you were going to get at 9 a.m., you think they would have been there at 9 a.m., Jimmy?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they would have slept
uncle, sister, cousins. Yep, run. Yep.
Yeah, so that's one. And then the other one that's really good, I think, is, if you're wrong, apologize quickly, move on. Like we do not lament on mistakes. I make plenty of them every day, and it's like, own it and move on. Like, sorry, my bad. I'll fix it. And then go fix it though.
Gotta go fix it though.
Yeah, but it's a culture. You have to like literally explain it to people and then live by it and be like, are you really taking responsibility right now? And then they're like, oh, no, and then you get better performance out of people. I've been having really direct conversations with people, looking them in the eyes and being like, I expect greatness, like dead stare in the eyes. Shake your hand, Jimmy.
And we're all going,
it's my new thing. I expect greatness. So any other comments? Anything else you'd like to go over today, Jimmy?
No, not really. I'm glad we ended on the total responsibility management, because it's so helpful. It's not that hard to implement, but yet I make a lot of mistakes myself, and it's so easy to go, my bad, I'll fix it. I must have missed it. Oops, I'm sorry, didn't mean to do that to you.
Well, the other part of it is they blame people, right? Oh, well, so-and-so and so-and-so. No, that's not taking responsibility. Like if you took responsibility, it would be done. You would have called them 10 times, really think about it. When you really want something in your life, right? You see that beautiful person across the room that you think you're going to marry. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. What would you do? Right. You'd follow up, you do the right thing. So just don't accept the excuses and don't make excuses. Don't accept them. Don't blame others. And when shit happens, it's okay. Just move on quickly, fix it. So that's one of ours. We got a bunch of them. We're going to cover one each week for the next, couple months, so everybody can understand the culture of Jimmy and Jonny.
I really like the way you broke up the show today. It'll be nice segments. It'll be good for the touch points, as we talked about at the first part.
Yeah, and I like it. It just keeps it moving. Different topics. I can talk a dog off a meat wagon.
Truth. I've seen it, folks.
The dog's just like, okay, I'm out of here.
I'm done.
With that being said, Jimmy, I am going to depart.
There
Excellent seeing you as always. Great conversation. I hope everybody enjoys the segment. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check out successsystemhub.com. All great stuff everywhere. And if you're a Prana Wash person, love you guys. Look forward to seeing you in person soon. Bye-bye.
Peace out. Bye, guys.